Hello, everyone. Welcome to another special episode of Hypothetical Crossover that should have happened. Yes, welcome back to another episode of that. I believe this is episode 2. I'm not sure if this will be like a weekly or bi weekly or a special monthly thing, but this is like one of those off and on things, unless we have great ideas coming out of the woodworks. But today's idea is a good one. Uh, last, lie about to say last year. Last month, I was working on the Alien strip for a reading for Alien, and I had fun just like going over the strip and just like having a good time, just like as a director and stuff like that too. Hayden himself was uh, I was voiced as played Ash, so the crazy robot.
And if you want to
But
see that performance, go check it out on Chaos Theater Collective YouTube page.
it should be in the little description. I mean, in the description box. But
Yeah, like we'll put a link in the description for the video.
but I had this. I had the after thing of, or just successful talk of what if Rocky Balboa faced against Daniel Russo and how that all planned out. All played out, I should say. He came up with another great one, which was essentially Star Trek and the Alien series. Now, logically, and I say logically as a fan, but logically, these two actually could have just met just randomly because of the timeline. Uh, the last Star Wars series that ended, presently, that wasn't like a prequel or something like that. Because I don't because currently, Picard is set in the 2090 it's 2390s, right? But I'm not using Picard as the basis here. I'm just using it because this is like pre-Picard. So obviously Picard is not on the table. Even though Jean-Luc Picard might just show up. I'm not sure. Because, obviously you need a hero to save the day, and who better than Jean-Luc Picard, or well, who better than Jean-Luc Picard, because obviously, uh, there is Sulu, there's Riker. Unfortunately, Ben Sisko is with the Prophets, so he can't really do anything. He may return one day, but we never actually know that for sure. Uh, a little Star Trek humor. Uh, yeah, the idea of a Star Trek crew, right? An Enterprise-like ship, finding a distress call, and then stumbling upon the aliens from Alien, or the Xenomorphs from Alien, and essentially having their essentially almost like a Die Hard scenario where it's just like they're trapped on another ship with all these aliens. So hypothetically, this is a crossover that should have happened because at the end of Alien Resurrection, even though they were killing the genetically engineered aliens, they are like still aliens still around there, because the other films in the series have shown like, oh yeah, there are other planets that these things have been on and stuff like that too. Uh, the idea is that with Alien, you know, LV-426, the moon that was essentially the problem to begin with. That's gone because they nuked everything. Uh, Ripley, her alien that was inside of her, that's dead. And then at the end, they were just like creating these aliens because of that, because of the alien species that they were using in Ripley's body at the time. Now, it's very hard to figure out how to work with the super canon, but we could always because this is a very hypothetical what if, and it's always fun to do plot this out, right? Now, with Star Trek, the last season, the last show that actually that dealt with a timeline that fits well with the movie of Alien Resurrection 2379 is Voyager, right? So it's after Voyager, right? The Planet of Federation decided to say, hey, uh, Voyager's back. let's just have a new crew, what have you. We've got this stuff to the Delta Quadrant now. We could go to and from the Delta Quadrant. We could go to and from the Alpha Quadrant. You know, we could go to other quadrants, right? So, new crew, new ship. You know, it's maybe a couple of people from the. Maybe Worf is one of the lieutenants there. Maybe there's a emergency holographic doctor there. You know, maybe Riker is the ship's commander, but we don't know. Whoever is part of the ship's crew, that's just vague, right? Like when I say crew, I mean like the whoever's in the front. But this episode, or rather, yeah, this episode will follow essentially just like what we call the red shirts, whereas it's like, oh, the red shirts, they normally die because they wear red shirts, they're easy pickings, if it's a horror movie or a horror thing, they're dead to be there. They're gonna be the first to die. So
red shirts take a holiday. It doesn't end well.
Yes. Yes, red shirts take a holiday, and ends up being because of what happens with the alien. So basically, what I'm thinking is that Commander so and so, right? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it's a new commander, it's a new captain, right? So Captain
Kim.
Yeah, Captain Kim. Captain Kim oversees a distress call, right? Decides that, it's a distress call with a, it's sort of like how the aliens movie play out. It's a derelict ship. It's not moving. They automatically think maybe it's the Borg. It could be another problem. It could be like, maybe it could be a problem with like the Borg, where it's like the technology's already gone. There's no one no one to essentially help them, right? So Captain Kim decides to say, okay, we'll put away a away team, and the away team will go out and see what's for themselves. And the away team consists of the emergency medical hologram, who, as the doctor, would only be like, hey, not only would it be allowing itself to free range, but also because of the technology that was created on Voyager, they are able to essentially beam these things on planet as well. It's just within the essentially, I think, as long as it's still in the range of the ship. So it's like, if if the ship's still in orbit, they can still essentially walk around on the planet without worrying or something like that. If the ship decides to go bye-bye, then they're gone. But that, the EMH is just like, crap, and just shuts off. And then there's this lost technology on the surface, which has happened in the show. I mean, in the Star Trek canon, by the way. I just remembered a random episode that was just a random filler episode, and ends up being a important plot point for a talk like this. But it doesn't happen on the same planet, though. But basically, what happens is that Captain Kim decides to send a distress team. There's a red shirt, like Ensign Kaloy or something like that, and there's the emergency medical hologram, the team doctor, just in case something happens, and then there is probably like Lieutenant Eggcard or what have you, who is just like the grizzled guy that's just like there, who knows how to handle himself in a situation like that.
And his name would literally be, for the sake of this, for fun, Grizz.
Yes, Grizz Eggcard. And Grizz is just basically the guy who you think will probably be the one who survives, but ends up probably being like the first victim.
Yep.
And so basically, the ensign, the lieutenant, and the emergency medical hologram, they go on the ship. They find nothing's really there. They believe it's Borg, because the Borg always has to essentially assimilate everybody and the technology doesn't seem their first thought is okay, it's the Borg, because technology's gone. Uh, it looks all a mess, and then as they're looking through more of the ship, they find more corridors that are like lined with essentially the slime ridden, like the slime ridden of the slime ridden
like kind of cocooning effect that the alien used for the victims in the movie.
Yeah, in the movies, where you just see like, oh, there's a couple of cocoons that are still hardened. So even if EMH is like, I came and get through this thing, regardless, it would take a plasma bolter, and we don't even have that. And Grizz is like, maybe I can do it. Hang on, doesn't do anything. Tries to open one, doesn't do anything. Even with brute force, nothing's working. They continue deeper onto the ship until they find like the ship's warp core, and then they find out that there is a like all these pods around all the pods are around the thing. All these alien pods, and then they find out that like with Kane happens in the first Alien, Grizz is like, what is one of these things? And it opens up, and then suddenly Grizz gets attacked by one of the facehuggers. Yeah, essentially, yeah. And Grizz goes down, and the ensign quickly goes down, and the EMH is just like the only one who is unaffected, because as an emergency medical hologram, anything that just attacks him just goes immediately goes right through him. So it's like that's one of the perks of being a hologram is that he does he has the power of essentially the power to do all that. So Captain Kim is like, what the hell's going on? He's like, what? And then the emergency medical holograms is like, well, we have a little problem here. The ship seems to be infested with something, and the first start and two of the people seem to be already infested. I have to bring them back to the ship. I'm like, okay. They bring them back to the ship. They find out they're the two facehuggers are still there, right? Captain Kim is like really unsure about these two creatures because what happens if these things are like contagious and stuff like that too. And the EMH programs is like, don't worry. As far as I could tell, they're not like contagious. Contagious for the person, but not like contagious for you. Not like a sickness or something like that.
Yeah, it only affects the one it's actually in physical contact with.
Yeah. So Captain Kim is just like, okay, just brief me up on anything that's like that. Goes back to his quarters, starts looking up anything that deals with a creature essentially attacks the face. Finds out old records from essentially what happened to Ripley. Ellen Ripley, survivor of her ship, survivor again, essentially a long survivor. Finds out that Ripley essentially has died, and there's no more records of this Ripley outside of this person. But then he finds
and there also be thing of like any records that actually that are there are like strictly sealed.
Yeah, and just like
some kind of like special intricate way to hack through it if they want to find out any info on it, maybe.
Yeah, so it's like, oh man, we need like and Star Trek has that like type of operation where it's just like it's called Section 31, which is essentially their Black Ops version of a Black Ops program. Like they're like Section 31.
Black Ops version of Black Ops.
Yeah, they're like the Black Ops version of Black Ops. Like you're not even supposed to know they exist. But Captain Kim finds out this stuff about Ripley, goes further, finds out a lot of these records are sealed or just like redacted. Especially since a lot of these, especially if it does come back to one name, the company, and he finds out that the company is Weyland Yutonic. Sorry, Weyland Yutonic. I think that's how it's pronounced. And tries to put up Captain Kin tries to see if anybody from the company is still there. I think I think the company is still there, regardless, even because of what happened with Ripley.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they could easily still be there because they could easily write off what happened anyway.
Yeah, and it's still like a company that itself that it's like even with Alien Resurrection, it's still it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently it's still according to okay.
Yeah, so I think we might have
A visitor.
furry visitor soon. Oh, I accidentally bumped her head when I was moving stuff around.
Aw. Yeah, the Alien Wikia says that they're still active in 2030, 2831, or so basically they're still like active.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hang on. But basically, they're active, but he's like, I had to put up some like I have to like get into contact with someone from there, and he finds someone who has worked there. Maybe it's like another character that we know of. You okay there, Sophie? See, this is why I wanted her to play Jonesy the cat, but that would be much more harder.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she can be a diva sometimes.
I like how you say diva, and she's like, hmm?
That was so perfectly timed.
But yeah, Captain Kim looks around, finds a lot of these things are redacted, especially revolving the company. Tries to even find someone to look for the company, but ends up unable to find anyone because the company is essentially keeping a lot of this off books.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to this like particular creature.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's like a lot of this.
And then it's like that's how we essentially get the Xenomorph showing up. Probably similar to how it does in the movie, I'd imagine.
Yeah, in the movie.
But then in this case, because it's two face huggers, you get two of them instead of one. Double trouble.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because of the amount of people that was there, because it's like two face huggers, and then yeah, and because the engine might be an alien, right, of themselves. Here comes the added option of the engine that the alien that spawns from the engine ends up essentially having another alien genetic code in them. Grizz just might be human, right? So it's like a human, but the alien films have shown that there are alien archetypes or other alien species within that Xenomorph thing that essentially creates themselves from other things.
They're multi-classing.
Yeah, in Alien 3, they show that there is an alien. That an alien can be born out of a dog or a cow, depending on the cut you're watching. In the theatrical cut, it's a dog that it's born from. It's called a runner, right? Because it basically uses its hind legs and all that stuff. The same thing with the cow, because apparently cows are still fast somehow. I don't know. Well, then again, I haven't really seen a cow, so it's like, so I don't know how fast they move in life. So cows may be fast. But yes, Captain Kim finds out a lot of this stuff is redacted, and then suddenly it's like, the ensign and the Grizz, wake up. They're fine. Those two alien creatures seem to be dead. Emergency medical hologram can't make a note of it. And life just goes on until probably like later that night, where they're probably like asleep or what have you, and then suddenly the chest burster comes out, and then we find Captain Kim finds out that a couple of the crew members are now dead because the aliens are now because this being an alien movie, or rather from the Alien series, these things don't take a while to spawn into into life itself. Like they just take like a couple hours, and then boom, they're practically like they're practically up and at 'em already.
Yep.
But a lot of but because of the nature of the two alien creatures, one of them being now a hybrid of, say, uh, the ensign. So I'll just say the ensign was a Vulcan, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now the Vulcan, Vulcans are more stronger than they are with humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a alien Vulcan hybrid that is much more stronger than it is to the other comparable alien that is
Mm-hmm.
basically spawned from Grizz, who is basically a human. And
Mm-hmm.
human ones are like they're strong, but they're not like strong.
Yeah.
Like they can still take amounts of punishment, but if you compare it to a Vulcan one, like Vulcans are like stronger than like say humans. So
Mm-hmm.
now you're having a xenomorph that is essentially genetically spliced together with a Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
There lies a big problem. How do you exactly beat that son of a bitch?
Yeah, and
Compared
I
to
think,
say,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, like I would say, like what would probably end up happening is for story reasons, the xenomorph that came from Grizz would
yeah,
still end up retaining some of that Grizz like persona to a degree, just enough to try and fight off the Vulcan xenomorph. But it like I think it would last only long enough for the remaining crew to either get into escape pods, and depending on how we'd want to end this too, because I could see two possible endings for this.
yeah,
So either would hold it off just long enough so everyone else can get into escape pods and leave, or they can all escape to a different part of the ship, realize they don't have an escape,
yeah,
and think that, oh, someone has come to save us. But then it's just that, that like Black Ops crew you were talking about before, the Section 31 thing.
yeah.
And then they just obliterate the ship.
Yeah, and just to like obliterate, yeah, because that's essentially two options I'm seeing. Is one, uh, the ship being obliterated because of Section 31 being on
Mm-hmm.
orders from the company to say, do not let this thing get out of hand, and
Mm-hmm.
then them essentially obliterating the other ship to make sure that ship doesn't get it out of hand, because a lot of the stuff I've seen outside of the alien movies is that a lot of times the company does want to use it as a weapon, but at the same time it also wants to destroy any of all evidence. So even if that does mean uh, one or two eggs gets kept, the other ones have to be like destroyed and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But here I'm seeing is that, oh, the alien that spawned from Grizz, I could easily see it as as something like we said before. Uh, there are xenomorphs that do retain the what's the term? Their host is like memories, I guess, or genetic memory.
Okay.
So because there are moments in movies where uh, people try to reason one of those things, and they it obviously doesn't work for them. But there are moments where they try to reason with that thing, and it ends up being it almost works because of the genetic memory.
Mm-hmm.
But we could easily see like the Grizz thing, the Grizz alien. The Grizz is basically trying to be a heroic thing
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, like trying to hurt the more upgraded, or essentially the Vulcan xenomorph hybrid, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's essentially like almost like the much more like the what was it, the Chad versus the Giga Chad meme,
Yeah, basically.
where it's like the Giga Chad is basically the Vulcan xenomorph hybrid, and the Chad is basically the regular xenomorph that spawned from a regular human. And Captain Kim is probably going to be like the captain who goes, well, I'm probably going to go down with the ship. If I'm going down the ship, I'm going down swinging.
Yep.
And I believe, and like you said before, And I see two possibilities. One, the possibility of the distress call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's in their own quarters or something like that, like a section of the ship where they can't really get this, the alien and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like the engine room or something like that, because the engine room has always been that Star Trek staple of we make our last stand here, because if they get the engine room, then they get the ship.
Yeah.
And they'll hold up in the engine room, or maybe engineering. Probably, yeah, either one
Probably
of
the
the
engine
two.
room, I think, would be a much more dramatic kind of like a
Yeah,
set backdrop for a
especially
final battle kind of thing.
yeah, and because of the alien, it's just like the alien is just becoming a lot more faster. It's like killing off the crew. Captain Kim decides to say, okay, I've gotten a distress call out. We should be having help in a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how I see it. One, the Section 31 ending, where it does feel like the Section 31 does come out and kill everyone, and then basically blows up this ship, and then blows up the other ship to destroy any other evidence about the Xenomorph.
Yeah.
I see it happening, but I'm also seeing the same thing happening with another ship, Ripley. Now, in Alien Resurrection, Ripley survives via cloning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's cloning, because she's Ripley 8, and Ripley decides here's the same thing, and the whole plot line of Ripley 8 is that she was basically the same thing as the Vulcan Xenomorph, where it's just like she's basically the best of both worlds, where she's both human and Xenomorph because she's cloned from both of the DNA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm thinking is that Ripley 8 just happens to hear, the distress call of this ship, of this like Enterprise like ship, and then finding out, oh, there's a problem I know, and flies to where the ship is, and then she finds the Section 38, Section 31 people. She fights them. It's basically like the way I'm seeing it, like how Batman was portrayed in the Batman, where it's just like you just see Ripley in the showers, just like taking out all these people, just like left and right. Just when you think they got her, she just like, that tickles, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then destroys even more of these people, because they do play up Ripley Ape as a almost like super heroic figure without being like the full-on super heroicness of that character. Because
Mm-hmm.
again, Ellen Ripley is a superhero for a reason in the horror community, especially as a sci-fi horror character. But they basically they basically give her like powers and whatnot to be like almost like Captain America, like levels of just like strength and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I see those two endings happening where it's just like Captain Kim does the stress call, sees that either Section 38, Section 31 kills them. That's the bad ending. Or the good ending of is that, Section 31 and then also Ripley finds out about this ship, and Ripley does her best to essentially, Ripley 8 does her best to essentially, hey, save this crew, because she's trying to atone from her, like, alien side, which
Mm-hmm.
was essentially one of the big reasons why people didn't really like the character, was because, they played her more like an alien Xenomorph than it was like Ellen Ripley
Mm-hmm.
in Resurrection.
Yeah.
Well, Hayden, what do you think?
Well, I think it would be fun.
Yes,
Yeah, that's something.
especially
If Star Trek can ever, I'd be comfortable doing, considering all the like crazy amount of new Star Trek shows they've been doing.
yeah. Even that for a one-off thing, it does feel like a nice little one-off, like literally a one-shot comic book that could be like very interesting to do, because. Or even from a one-shot comic that's like 4 issues and stuff like that too, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you have the best of both worlds. You have a new crew and stuff like that too, and you have the aliens. How would that go? And I
Mm-hmm.
do see like what I just said, which was essentially the aliens essentially, um, come through the entire ship and just like wreak havoc, killing people, or just like not assimilating people, but taking them into becoming assimilated into new aliens and whatnot. And of course, the biggest problem and the biggest non-drawback is there's no queen to deal with this, because all the Alien movies, aside from the first Alien, have to deal with the queen. Well, I mean, sorry, not Alien. Well, Alien 1 and Alien 3 don't have the queen in it. Well, technically speaking, Ripley is sort of like the queen, but technically speaking, she is a queen because she is carrying a queen alien thing. But the idea of essentially a alien product that doesn't have to deal with an alien queen, but still dealing with essentially the funness of a Star Trek episode, it does feel like fun.
Yeah.
Especially, having this idea of, hey, there's this like, and also putting it as a normal crew that doesn't have like a connection to the fan base, that even raises it more or less stakes. Because if you put it as Jean-Luc Picard or Janeway or Sulu, you're automatically able to think, okay, they're obviously gonna survive, right? But when you have it like I say, like a Captain Kim or a Captain,
or just anyone who isn't like a known like canon character, who's just someone who's created just for this particular kind of thing, then it does raise the stakes even more for what could happen.
Yeah, because even though they're a creative character and they are on the side of the Star Trek side, they could be dead by the end of it. So, yeah. But that was a fun episode today. I know I talked about a bit more, but next episode, though, it is probably going to be more Hayden focused side, because maybe you could tease what the next episode is.
Ooh, for this one? Oh, so we decide which one we're doing?
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. I'm not. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, yeah. So then our next what if hypothetical crossover that should happen but did not is going to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the Star Wars universe.
And I'm not really a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan outside maybe some of the cartoons, so I'm probably gonna be a little hesitant with that. But I know Hayden's like a big Star Wars, fan, so he knows his stuff about that. Are you a big fan of the Ninja Turtles?
What? Oh yeah. I mean, like I wouldn't say I'd say I'm more Star Wars fan than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I still like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a lot. And
good.
And it's funny because it's like there's already a lot of possibilities too with that one, because there was also in the 2003 show when they started, like they literally did a season where the turtles got sent into the future, and it was all very what you would expect from a Star Wars-esque kind of universe. So it's already a lot to play around with there, as well as also another season where they got these kind of mystical powers, like how Jedi have those kind of powers with the Force essentially.
But I will say
there's already a lot of potential to work with what they've already shown as well.
But I will say this though, the one turtle you think is going to be the Force user of the group, it should be the one that is the least expected to be the Force user.
Well, honestly, I think any of them could be Force users, because they're all technically brothers.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
And you have to kind of keep that that aspect with the turtles intact. Especially because there would be a lot of fun to play around with it too, with the idea of all of them having access to the Force. And we know Donatello would just be in heaven with all the tech there, with all that futuristic looking tech.
Oh yes, and but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's episode, even though it was just basically essentially trying to pitch a comic thing to Hayden, who has basically no foreknowledge of both Star Trek or Alien outside of the movies.
Pretty much. I only have vague little knowledge when it comes to Alien and Star Trek.
But the ideas that we have for the series, oh boy, it is going to be some fun, because the Star Wars Ninja Turtles thing is going to be fun to talk about the next time. We have ideas for Saul Goodman, basically defending. I'll give you a hint. He's a very large fella.
Big bone. My client is big boned. Let's
Yes.
record reflect that.
And also a horror themed versus superhero thing down the line, which might be a October thing. I hope, especially going forward. But it's fun to do all that stuff. But I will say that from a horror theme aspect. The man with no fear, does he sleep with his eyes in his dreams? And if he does sleep with his eyes in his dreams, i.e., does he sleep when he sleep? Anyway, basically,
does he sleep when he sleeps?
Basically,
Bryan, I love today. You're just like, and the Black Ops group, it's a Black Ops group. And does he sleep? And when he sleeps, does he sleep? Does he sleep? And when he sleeps with his eyes, does he sleep with his eyes?
It's Freddy versus Daredevil, okay? I was trying to tease it like that, but I got lost in translation. It actually reminds me of the tagline for Expendables 4. They'll die when they're dead.
Well, yes, that's how death works. Like literally just have that blacksmith character from Infinity War just showing up and be like, for all these ones, like, yes, that's how a Black Ops group works, or yes, that's how sleep works.
But yes, we have ideas going forward with this show, and a lot of these ideas are very fun to bounce around with.
I actually got an idea I want to talk about with you afterwards.
Ooh, okay. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it. Again, we have no idea what the flex schedule would this be. This could be a monthly thing. This could be a 2-month thing. I have no idea. So enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy us trying to figure out how a Star Trek alien pitch would actually work. And it could have worked by going with this route. So anyway, take care and adios.
Adios.